I am here today to live my daily reflection. So, one thing that I wanted to remind you is that today we had the conjunction between the Sun and Mercury in Gemini. And this is like a closure of a cycle that started in April because we had a conjunction there of the Sun and Mercury, but Mercury was retrograde, so it was like a new Mercury. As much as we have new moons and full moons, which are beginnings of a cycle and closures of a cycle, that is in a certain way how it is operating Mercury in a different way because Mercury is associated to our mental processes. So we are closing a cycle linked with that. So we are bringing to consciousness maybe decisions, things that we have to communicate. Maybe we are finding the information that we need in order to move forward or in order to assume these decisions too. So it is linked with that. On the other hand, I wanted to keep talking about the squares with Neptune in Pisces because this is something that we are not only going to experiment at this weekend, but also the whole next week. I'm going to talk about this on Sunday probably because we are that day I talk about the energies of the week, but. I wanted to keep talking about this because I think it is important. Venus is already in mathematical degrees, in orb of mathematical degrees, creating the square, but then this is going to be done by Mercury and the Sun. So, well, one of the polarities, the shadows, and I am going to refer to shadows because it is a tension, it is a square. So the tendency many times with the squares is to approach a labor, something that is challenging in order for us to identify certain patterns to transcend them. So I mentioned this quality of wanting to run, to hide, or the avoidance thing, avoiding life with squares with Neptune. And Neptune is very associated to substances, alcohol, these kind of things. But nowadays we have a lot of ways to to run from life and from ourselves. Social media is an example, and there are platforms that that are offering series and these kind of things. I'm not saying that watching a film is running from ourselves. Each one will know with which intentions they are doing what they are doing, but it is important to understand that the respecting to the shadows of Neptune, it is important to not condemn them. It is important to not judge, because everything that we judge, every duality that we judge, we tend to repress that and to deny, so we cannot change what we are not seeing. And here we have another quality of Neptune, which is forgiveness. And forgiveness, it is a practice. It is not something that we did once, 1 month, or it is a practice, a daily practice, and it is linked with transcending our own judgments with ourselves and with other people, because everything that we judge, then we experiment it in order to also contact with compassion, which is other energy associated to Neptune. Compassion is not a pity of ourselves or pity of other people. Compassion is understanding the pain of others, is being able to understand the pain of others, and also understanding the quality of imperfection that we have in this plane, because there is no total perfection on this earth. We are all in this infinite process of evolution, in this infinite spiritual process. So coming back to the to the avoidance thing, to avoid life, that pattern comes from wanting protection, because many times with transits with Neptune, the sensitivity that we could experiment could be overwhelming. Is like, I am feeling the pain of the world, I am feeling the pain of everything. So wanting to run it could be a strategy, to feel protected. But in the long term, of course, it won't work, because every time that we are not trying, not facing life, by avoiding exposing ourselves to life, dealing with life, and facing the challenges of life, we are actually making this abandonment of ourselves. We are not accompanying ourselves. So that will lead to anxiety, or that will lead to this sense of numbness. This is something that I mentioned in other videos. When we are feeling this numbness, we don't feel anything. That is a signal that we need to attend ourselves, because we are disconnecting from life, from our own soul. But it is important to approach this with a lot of compassion and a lot of forgiveness in order to really change things. Everything that we really change, it is because we are approaching that with love. Love is also boundaries, love is also linked with that. But it is important doing from that place, because everything that we are doing from this harsh space, in the end, I think it doesn't work. So other thing that I wanted to talk about this energy, something that I mentioned too, is that it is very linked with creativity. Neptune is also inspiration. Neptune is accessing to other planes and descending ideas with all these planets in Gemini. So creativity is a very good way to channel this energy, because as much as a spirit or God or universe is experimenting itself through its creations, which are us and all that exists, the whole universe is a creation of this energy, of the energy of the spirit. We are also experimenting ourselves, revealing ourselves through our creations. So creating is not only something that we do to materialize in here and to create prosperity or to offer to the community. It is something that helps us to reveal ourselves, to know ourselves, and to be in contact with the divinity inside of us. I am saying this because I heard this many times, until you are not totally healed, which is something that doesn't exist in this plane also. Totally healed is total perfection, is the dissolution in the source. So we don't have that here, but we can access to different planes. So um, uh, until you are not totally healed, or until I am not at this level, I cannot offer, I cannot give, I cannot do. And actually, the step that enables the healing is the creativity, for the people the artists, or the people like me that we like music, that we like to draw, that we like to, different types of art. um, Many times we can transmute whatever thing is happening inside of us through the creativity. So if someone feels like sharing their ideas, their information, or what they have learned, it is very important to assume that step, because the healing, which is the rebalancing of energies, is given through that act. And that's how we understand, we reveal the inner self, and we understand also the parts that we are not anymore, and we start to get rid of these layers of the ego that are not aligned with this divinity inside of us. So creativity is much more, creativity is the development of the spiritual path too. So it is very, very important to approach that. And that is the energy that Neptune offers us in every transit. But as I said, when we have these squares, we have to learn to transcend the polarities, or the shadows of this energy, um, and learn to redirect it. It is like a challenging, in order to to make us grow, to help us to grow. But if we enter in these places of judgment, which is the contrary, of forgiveness, if we want to put it in some way. And forgiveness, I talked about this. Forgiveness is the rebalancing of an energy, is letting go of a blockage, actually, in order to be able to flow with life. And flow with life is not about waiting, sitting and waiting, and flowing with life. Flowing with life is just following the steps and making and taking the actions that we feel internally we have to approach in order to move forward with this organic energy inside and outside of us. But well, as I said, I think it is important to embrace everything with love. I think consciousness operates, the more I walk in this path, I think the more I understand that consciousness operates from this very, very loving place with ourselves and with the others. So, well, family, I am ending this video here. Thank you, everyone, and see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.